And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day, committed to helping you win in any marketplace. We love to help you win. I really love when the audience calls in and engages with us. You know, it really makes my day. It makes my week. When we get calls on the hotline, 813-917-1894, commenting on a story or commenting on anything related to the show, but also, you know, wanting to support our 80-plus show partners and categories of consumer advocates here in Tampa Bay, attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors. Reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. You can call or text that hotline, 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
ConsumerQB.com is the website. Also, brhymes@kw.com. brhymes@kw.com. Submit that email questions you have as well. And we'd love to connect with you here in Tampa Bay. We got Jason Kobal, Coble Law, going to be on the line here. We're going to talk about the Zuckerberg bombshell that just happened this past week, talking about censoring and basically altering the flow of information. Our First Amendment's rights, here in our great country, the United States of America. You talk about Zuckerberg, what he did with the FBI, under the direction of the FBI. Also, a little bit more from Jason about Uber and Lyft. You think when you get into an Uber and Lyft that you might be covered by insurance? Well, that might not be the case if you get into an accident. Find out more with Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Also, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens, and Douglas Clark, Ours Creole, our restaurant partner on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. That's our goal. Now, we also own a top-ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. We're in the top 100 out of 25,000 teams here in Tampa Bay. Top 100 team. We got a dozen or so folks on our team. So a small group, but $2.1 billion in sales out of our 3 market centers last year with Ubaldini Group. So we'd love to help you win. Hot listing in North Carolina, co-listing of ours, 530 Heaton Forest Road. This is in the western part of North Carolina, the beautiful mountains of western Carolina, North Carolina. Bill DeVore Real Estate Group is the listing agent on that. Keller Williams, one of our team members up there. 8,000 square feet, 20-acre property, magnificent estate, 4 fireplaces, cool mountain evenings, beautiful property, expansive stone driveways. Guest house has 3 bedrooms and a sitting room. 530 Heaton Forest Road in Cashiers, North Carolina. Also got the equestrian set up, fenced in for horses and horse barns, horse stalls. $9 million listing from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty in conjunction with Bill DeVore Real Estate Group up in Carolina, up in the Carolinas. So reach out to the team. We'd love to talk to you. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we got Jason Kobal, attorney Jason Kobal, that is. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hey, Brandon, always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and I appreciate that. And yeah, let's jump into it. You know, I think that's a great story to start with, is the Uber and Lyft. You know, these companies make so much money with their platforms, and then of course I think they lean heavily to the left on their policies that they support. But tell us about some of the changes there.
Oh man, there's been drastic changes that your listeners really need to know about. And just myself, I've had a couple cases where years ago, Uber and Lyft causes an accident. I represented drivers, riders, and I would get good settlements because they had decent policies a few years ago. But just recently, within the last year, they drastically changed their policies, and now it's scary. I'll give you 2 little scenarios. Let's say an Uber driver causes an accident. So you're driving your own car, and an Uber driver causes the accident. They have a 3-part insurance policy. This one's not as bad as the next one I'm going to tell you, but if it's an Uber driver in their personal vehicle and they're not on the way to pick up a rider, or they're not driving someone around, then the only policy that will apply would be that person's personal insurance, which kind of makes sense. If they're on the way to pick up a rider but they haven't picked them up yet and they crash into you and cause you injury, there's $50,000 in coverage per person. $100 per accident, so if there's multiple people in your vehicle. Lastly, the best policy is if you're going to get hurt by an Uber driver, if they happen to have a rider with them and they're in the middle of taking them somewhere and they hurt you they were at fault in an automobile accident, then there's $1 million of coverage to get. That's if they cause the accident. But where the big drastic changes came from is they changed their both for the driver and for passengers if it's a hit and run. So if you're an Uber driver and you are hit, not your fault, so this other driver causes the accident, and they don't have insurance, you don't have any coverage. So you don't get $1, you don't get anything. It used to be $250,000, so it went from $250,000 to nothing. And why that is relevant, 25% of all drivers in Florida have the minimum insurance, which doesn't require bodily injury. So if one of those people caused the accident and you're an Uber driver, you're not going to get anything because there's no through Uber or Lyft now. And then I had a good buddy of mine. This is terrible. He was a passenger in an Uber, and he was being transported, and it was a hit and run, which also happens a good percentage of the time, probably about 5 or 8%. And unfortunately, he thought for sure. He goes, so what's the coverage? $1 million? Because he was really hurt, and it's actually nothing because they no longer have he can't get on their He didn't have so here he had no idea this could be the case, but he got a ride with Uber. He's seriously hurt. The other vehicle had the minimum, so they didn't have bodily injury, couldn't get anything from them. And Uber didn't have any so even though he was a rider, he gets nothing. And it's really unfortunate, other than a $5,000 med pay, which is just, it pays your bills up to $5,000, which is nothing.
Yeah.
So to expect $1 million to go and get nothing because, the change is very drastic and unfortunate, like you said, especially considering how much money they make.
It's $5,000, but basically once you check in and get put into a room and you stay one night and take maybe a couple baby aspirins, that's the cost of things these days. And by the way, when you're saying you're talking about uninsured/underinsured motorists.
Oh, that's exactly right. So that means, for example, if the person has no insurance or the legal minimum with no bodily injury, that's when is applicable. Or if it's a situation where you're really hurt and the at-fault driver said they only have $10,000 or a small policy that doesn't cover the total cost of the case, the total value of the case, once that money is exhausted for the bodily injury, that 10, then the would kick in. So years ago, there was at least $250,000 in for those companies, but now they switched it to zero, which is really, I think, appalling. Is because they've only made more and more money.
Yeah, exactly. They make a lot of money, and again, they're woke companies. I don't like to see it, especially even some of the companies like Airbnb and VRBO, same stuff. You see them in some of these different cases where they're talking about that kind of thing. But we're talking with attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Uber and Lyft, big insurance policy change. And by the way, unless you were, kind of the old saying is hiding under a rock, you've probably heard about this story, but I want to play this clip here from Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I mean, basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So
when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful.
Yeah, so it's meaningful, so the FBI basically dictating to a private company who happens to be a behemoth, and most people check it every day. I mean, what are the percentages of people that are on Facebook now? Probably in the 90s, right? I mean, unless you're in some outskirts of Africa somewhere or something. But most people have a Facebook page, and when an article like this hits, especially the Biden laptop, what was all on it, what we know now is on it with the drugs and the prostitution and all the different things. Family show here, so we can't go into the details on that, Jason, but it's pretty crazy to see a law enforcement agency in the United States taking that kind of an action.
Yeah, oh my gosh, and it's so sad that we're just learning this now, August 30th, 2022, this happened, right before the election. It was supposed to be the October surprise, and I saw a statistic that I believe it was 1 out of every 6 Biden supporters said they would have changed their vote,
Right.
voted for Trump had they known about this. And it wasn't only Facebook. Also, Twitter did the same thing. They actually extended an apology after the election for doing it.
Right.
And what's worse than that, the people that did spread the true story that was in the New York Post were accused of spreading Russian propaganda, and some people had their accounts suspended.
Yep.
So this was no doubt. It's funny. The media would call any allegation of election interference or fraud the big lie. To me, this is the real big lie. And I think it should be the biggest story in the world right now, but it's amazing how the mainstream media and our political establishment work hand in hand to where they do a very effective job about limiting the outrage. Because, think about it. Our FBI lied to Facebook, most likely to Twitter. I'm sure hopefully there's going to be a journalist that's going to look into that. And told them something that wasn't true, as far as implying that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian propaganda, which to me doesn't even make sense. I don't even know how that was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. And therefore, the millions of people didn't know about it. It's terrible to benefit nobody.
Yeah, it really is. And the other thing that just came out this week too is the illegitimate President Biden says half the country basically are fascist if you're a MAGA Republican. Right,
and yeah, his ultra mega. It's a scary time right now, and there's a lot of labeling going on, a lot of separating people into categories and labels, and it's just not right. We're all equal, and that's the way I was brought up. And it doesn't matter about the color of your skin. It matters about the type of person you are and your attributes. So it's definitely scary times. So hopefully we can right the ship here in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. November will be that time. And more with attorney Jason Kobal. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back more with Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to jump into a little bit of his business with work comp law, what he does to help injured workers as well. And by the way, if you want to take action, you go to secondvote.com. Just kind of support companies that are like-minded. Secondvote.com is a place you can go to see how basically companies are spending their money, if it lines up with your values or not. Secondvote.com. Check them out online. And more with Jason Kobal on the other side. Plus, we got a feel-good story of the day coming up. LAPD body cam shows officer saved child who was not breathing. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Hot property listing at 4220 West Pearl Avenue in Tampa. Commercial property in South Tampa. This is a great opportunity if you are a business owner and you have a outdoor type of business with trucks and trailers, equipment, contractor business, lawn and landscape type business. 4220 West Pearl Avenue in South Tampa. You got a 1,200 square foot building. It's a mixed use property. You got just over a half-acre lot. 4220 West Pearl Avenue in Tampa. Commercial real estate opportunity in South Tampa. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt, find one you can't live without.
And you can also buy dirt from us as well. We got a lot of vacant land listings available here in Tampa Bay. If you're looking for vacant land, we got a $4.5 million property over by I-75 and Fowler. If you're a developer, great opportunity in there. Multiple properties available. All right, we got attorney Jason Kobal on the line. And Jason, thanks for bringing that story about Uber and Lyft, big insurance policy change. That was big news. Let's talk a little bit about your core business also with personal injury law and your work comp helping injured workers.
Awesome. Hey, before I do, I want to give give you some props here. I was at a wedding this weekend. It was a wonderful wedding. My office manager of a decade was getting married, and there was a guest there, actually her sister's husband, who was a big fan of your show. And he came up to me and he said, "Oh my gosh, I love the Consumer Quarterback, and I always listen to you on the show." So shout out to Renzo if you're listening. But yeah, it's always cool to see one of your fans out and about.
I love that. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Thanks, Lorenzo. Thanks, Jason.
Anyway, as far as my practice, still for 21 years now, I've been representing injured workers, and I tell you, nothing has changed. If you're an injured worker out there, and when you get hurt, in the course and scope of your job in Florida, you get thrown into this system, whether you like it or not. And a lot of people, they're afraid to lose their job. A lot of people have good jobs. They don't want to lose them. I get that. And they go through the system by themselves. If you're one of those people, just please understand, if you get a lawyer, that does not mean that you're going to lose your job. If they fire you because you got a lawyer, that's actually you could sue them for that. That's retaliatory termination. And usually, the bigger companies know better than to do that. So I highly recommend you get a lawyer if you are going through it on your own, because, boy, I just signed up a client this past week. She needed a neck surgery, has a terrible spinal injury, definitely needs the surgery, needs it right away, or God knows what could happen. You don't want to mess with your spine. And there was an adjuster who was trying to tell her, let's get another doctor's opinion, use your one-time change, and, we'll start from scratch and make sure this is the right thing to do. And she was about to do it. Luckily, she called me, and we prevented a disaster, because you only get one switch. And she really needs this surgery, and she didn't know, but she was with a heck of a surgeon. So she's actually going to go forward with it now and try to get better. But that just goes to show you got to be very careful if you're going it alone, and I definitely recommend that you don't do that.
Yeah, you got to protect yourself. These days, these companies, they have attorneys. They have these situations that they have come up from time to time, and some more often than others. And they know they have professionals on their side. So you got to have the professional on your side. Jason Kobal here in Tampa Bay, he's our go-to guy for personal injury, work comp law, and some other niche categories there with Coble Law here in Tampa Bay. He's also set precedent in the state of Florida with one of his cases that he referred out to an appellate court or an appellate firm, and that was pretty cool, Jason, having one of your cases that you brought forth to the state, the highest court in the state Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, no one could ever unring that bell or take it away from me. Very cool. It's fun because about 8 years ago now, I came up with the idea. My clients for workers' comp were getting billed, and I knew that and some of them have goes to collections, they have their credit ruined, and there's a law that says injured workers don't owe anything for the medical care, so they didn't owe the money. They're getting their credit ruined, and how it started was I brought a couple of those bills to work comp court, and I learned the hard way that I don't have standing in work comp court to bring those issues because my client isn't the person who's responsible for the bill to begin with. And I was like, something's fishy here. Like their credit's getting ruined. I can't even bring it to comp court. It's a comp case. So what I did was I started filing cases in civil court under the fair debt laws, FCCPA, FDCPA. And a couple big medical providers didn't like that and took the position that I wasn't able to do that. And that went all the way up to the Supreme Court of Florida. And like you said, I sent it to a class action firm who lost at the trial level. It got appealed. They sent it to an appellate firm who won at the DCA level. And then just finally, took about 2-3 years, but the Supreme Court of Florida saw it our way and decided that I can file these cases. So if you're an injured worker and you got billed, definitely give me a call. And why it's extra cool is because there's also other states that have these laws, and these cases can be brought in other states, but this is the first precedence of any of the 50 states. So it's not only just the first one in Florida, but in the whole country.
Yeah, wow, that's super impressive, man. I love that. Attorney Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Reach out to our hotline if you'd like to talk to the attorney, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com, brimes@kw.com. And Jason, I want to play another quick clip here about Trump.
U.S. fear Trump's files put spies at risk. This is what they're selling. This is the fear-mongering. This is as you say, Mike Davis, is this the librarian arguing about a library card or an overdue library book? We have the National Archives in a hissy fit over presidential records, basically what it is. And now over the weekend, the drumbeat, he's going to be indicted. He's got to be indicted. He is most certainly going to be indicted. Mike Davis.
More lies, it's just, again, it's like the Russia hoax, the collusion, the impeachment 1, impeachment 2, the January 6th. He wanted a riot to happen. Well, if he wanted a riot to happen on January 6th, then he wouldn't have offered 20,000 National Guard troops that they declined. Jason, it just continues on.
It is disgusting, and it's one of the most upsetting experiences I've had. I became a lawyer. And I picked that path for a reason. Like there's high standards that we have always held in our country here for law and order, and they are just getting abused left and right. And I feel like they have this strategy they turn to. I mean, you talk about this raid on Mar-a-Lago. He's got Fourth Amendment arguments to make. He's also even got an argument whether a president could even be held criminally liable for these accusations on a records dispute. It's really It should be a civil matter. I mean, why would a president have to turn to some administrator or follow some administrative process if he wants to declassify a document? That seems kind of ridiculous. But what I don't like is a lot of times they will open a case or maybe even a couple other lawsuits that were filed to open an investigation, file a lawsuit, and then they get the media to act as if doing that means the person's guilty, and they'll run with that and report on it that way for a year or so, and then the investigation fizzles out. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I bet you we'll see. You never know, but I bet you he'll be starting his second term before this thing is officially resolved, and it'll be a big non-issue. But until then, you're going to hear the media talk about how terrible of a violation of the law this is, and that he's guilty, and it's disgusting.
Got to drain the swamp. We got to drain the swamp. The administrative state, all of them, and Jason. So, Jason, thanks for all your hard work out there, right here in Tampa Bay, helping our listeners. Jason Kobal, check him out online. What's the website, Jay?
It's TampaWorkCompLaw.com.
TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later, Jason.
All right, thanks, man.
Coming up, we got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and Doug Clark, Ours Creole, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thanks for supporting the program, supporting the local economy here in Tampa Bay. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. Save our hotline number, 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. Open phone lines. You can call or text 813-917-1894. And we like to feature our real estate listings. We are a top 1% ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. Certified negotiation expert, published author, professional speaker, former USF football player, lots of ties in Tampa Bay to the athletic side of the area, Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment Division as well. We got a hot listing at 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. This is $1 million listing of ours in a gated community. Beautiful property. You got granite countertops. Of course, you've got the new appliances, stainless steel, spiral staircase to the second floor. It looks like something out of a movie. Elevators, beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay, 5,200 plus square feet, 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Now, this is in the heart of Tampa Bay, Carrollwood area, the estates at White Trout Lake. Beautiful property. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. Plus, we got a property at 14663 Village Glen Drive in Tampa. This is in Carrollwood, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath property, over 1,950 square feet. Carrollwood Village, gorgeous, completely renovated. You got an outdoor pool, kitchen, and spa package, as well as screened-in porch and lanai, outdoor kitchen. Beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay at 14663 Village Glen Drive in Tampa. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we're going to our restaurant partner, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Doug Clark. He's the owner of Ours Creole. Welcome back to the program, sir.
What's going on, brother? How you doing? Good
doing
to be
great.
Back. Love it.
Yes, sir. Blessed and highly favored. And just checking in with you. I like to get the updates from you. What are you seeing out there economic-wise, supply chain-wise, and what's going on with the menu?
Well, butter's like gold.
Butter is?
Butter has got to be more expensive than gold right now, that's for sure.
Really? No way. Wow.
It's up there. I'm not sure what the whole reason behind it is, but, that's one of our staples here, a nice, southern restaurant. There's a lot of butter going in everything here, so, it's just one of the things that we pay attention to. Again, we talk about it all the time. It's not, the center of plate items, obviously those are going up, but the stuff that, gets you on the back end is, the paper supplies, to go, containers, butter, these everyday uses, it creeps up there. So if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to get dinged somewhere, and you're going to be like, man, where's the money going? Well, you just got to look at the fine line and, just pay attention and see what's going on. So that's one of the things, and obviously anything dairy is going up. It's just, it's just one of those things. I heard a thing that, we might have trouble with turkeys this year, that they're struggling from last year. I worked on a turkey farm in college, and, and it was the best job ever. It was great. But, man, I heard turkeys are going to be tough to come by, and they're going to be up there in price. I've seen, you take a look at your spiral hams, if you ain't got one, you might want to pick it up now and, hold that thing in the freezer till the holidays, because they're going to be they're going to be slim pickings, what the word on the street is.
Yeah, I could see it, man. It's like an attack on the small business owner, which a lot of the small business owners, medium-sized business, is restaurants. They're companies that are the heart and soul of this company or this country, and unfortunately, they've been under attack. The pandemic, everything from the pandemic to the lockdowns to the wear your mask. You don't need to wear the face diaper and back on. So it's been an attack, and it's hurting the supply chain. It's hurting the labor industry. We just talked about in yesterday's show. We talked about the forecast for new home home builds from the National Association of Home Builders. Evictions and layoffs. There's a shadow inventory coming of layoffs and or evictions rather. 5.4 million Americans. There's a report from the Census Bureau saying that either their rent or mortgage. 5.4 million Americans are behind on their rent and mortgage, and they feel like in the next 2 months they could be evicted.
Well, I believe it. The one thing about restaurants, it's a true, it's a job that you can use and utilize across the United States. You learn how to cook, and if you're good on the line or if you're a hard worker, there's always, room for that in a restaurant, especially a small mom and pop place. But, with the rising cost of everything, it makes it harder to get these people in, and we're paying more for less workers, if that makes any sense, because we're not going to get them without paying. We have to pay more, and we have to upgrade. And, so instead of, back in the day, if you didn't go to college or something like that, there's always a job in a restaurant if you're a hard worker. And right now, I feel like a lot of people that haven't been fortunate enough to, make it through college or find out what they want to do in their life, it's hard for them to get that job to walk in off the streets at a restaurant. And, you see a lot of part-timers. I feel like that's going around all part-time, three shifts here, 3 shifts there, and working 3 different jobs, instead of working one. And, I know multiple people that work in the restaurant field or the retail environment that they're doing that, and just to make ends meet. And it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad.
It really is. And I believe that a lot of people are still, we're kind of, you talk about that underemployed number, like, people just stop, a lot of people stop looking for work. Like they'd rather sit at home and maybe have a little side gig or something where they sell on eBay or sell online, and they're collecting government cheese on one hand, so the unemployment numbers I think are significantly skewed in that fact. And then there's also something called the Purchasing Managers Index. That's PMI. It's a global index of all nations. So think about who is going to see, where you're going to see this trickle effect, right? So the purchasing manager. So when you're making some type of a widget or you're ordering supplies to put together to develop or to manufacture, the Purchasing Managers Index is now at 44. That's the lowest it's been in a long time. So you look at what's happening, and then you look at also at like natural gas. Natural gas cost in Europe has increased 8 times. You look at fuel cost. So that's got to be hurting the supply chain.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you talk about natural gas, and look what's going on here. And I'm not sure if anybody realized, but I've seen it here. Our Duke energy bill went up significantly monthly.
Right.
I'm not talking like $50 a year.
Yeah,
talking like $300.
Yep, went up big time.
Like, holy cow, what is going on here? And at our house we just got solar on, so hopefully that helps with our our home front. And it's just unfortunate, it is what it is. I also heard you were talking about overseas in Europe, man. I think they're over there, trying to skew that, people wanting to work at home, and because obviously you're working at home, you're not going to the office. You got these sky rises, and they're empty, with all these offices. And I heard over there that I read this somewhere. I can't remember where I read it. I'm not sure, but that you were going to get a decrease in pay if you choose to work from home. For some of these companies. And I think it's just to try to get people out and about, because I think you're right. A lot of people are working, part-time and doing some side gigs and doing whatever they can do on, and it's all power to them to make extra money. Everybody's got the will, the God-given right to make extra money, but don't put the company you're working for at risk, and don't use that. Don't abuse the right situation when you're working at home, and I think that happens a lot as well. So you got this glory job working at home, and it's fine and dandy, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have the ability to work at home. Like restaurants, you can't work at home.
Right.
We got to get up, we got to drive, we got to go to work, we got to grind it for 12 hours, and hopefully pay the bills. So that's
right.
Where we're at.
We're talking with Doug Clark here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, Ours Creole, over in Tarpon Springs, Tarpon Avenue, right there. Live music, great food. Let's do a little bragging on the menu, Doug.
Oh man, I just literally just pulled off 50 pounds of bacon. We make our own bacon here. There's another one. You go to the store and you find you can get some cheap bacon, but we get our own pork bellies and we skin them, trim them down, and we dry brine them for 7 days and pull them off, and we rub a little maple syrup that we make here and some fresh cracked black pepper, and we throw that guy on the smoker for about 5 hours.
Wow.
That's a one that we use bacon a lot of pork fat, for a lot of our sauces, the etouffee, the jambalaya for sure,
right.
make that a lot, and bragging on it, we just, our menu is what it is. We come in and we make what we feel like making, and based on the price of items, we got stuffed flounder, we got some nice crab and shrimp stuffing there, and made some crab cakes. We got a great deal on some colossal crab meat, so just being able to shop around, and we print our menu every day, so it gives us the freedom to put stuff on the menu and keep it at a price that, is still, manageable for us and for, our guests that want to come out. We're not looking to charge, $60, $70. We did have a nice porterhouse on the other day, though, we had up there, but it was 44 ounces,
Yeah, that's a big one. I think I had one of those one time. That was awesome. I felt like Fred Flintstone coming out of there with my car leaning to one side.
Yeah, so that's another thing that we did, with our beef. We went out to Ruth Family Farms. I met these guys on a deer hunting excursion out in Missouri, and, it's a family-owned 5-generation farm. They got 15,000 acres. They grow their own feed. The animals are, born and raised on the farm, and, we get all that beef shipped in, and we cut all of our steaks here in-house, and, it saves us a lot of back-end pricing, and it's a great thing. It allows us to be flexible with our steak options and what we're going to put on the menu without having to pay a super premium price for a good quality piece of meat. And this is borderline American Wagyu, which is it's pure Black Angus, coming from the heart of America, Midwest, and it's a great product, and something that we stand behind, and I feel that our customers enjoy it, and it's no different than shopping around for all the great seafood out here. Look at grouper. Grouper is super expensive. It's always been expensive, but now it's like through the roof. And but there's other fish out there that you can, Corvina. You can find some good flounder, and you can get some, some snapper for some deals. You just, being able to move our menu around and fluctuate and get, small orders in. We prep what we can, and sometimes we run out of food, by 9 o'clock at night. But we come back the next day and we're re-going, we're redoing it.
That's right.
It keeps it fresh for the customers.
That's
I think they respect that.
All right, buddy. Well, how can folks find you? You got your website and you got your social media.
Hey, you can check us out on Google. Go to our Google site, ourscreole.com. You can see the live bands, the music. We got T-Bone and the Jazz Fools, Big D and the Dirty Dill, and Julie Black. Sometimes we get that Sarasota Slim, who's like a legend in the Tampa Bay area. But we got some good stuff that goes on here. It makes for a great experience. And check us out. Find us on our Facebook. After 2 o'clock, look at the date. The menu gets uploaded. We change it here, and we're killing it here. We're out here grinding, paying bills, and doing our thing. And we just stay positive, keep our head above water, and we don't pay attention to the nonsense, and we just keep cooking good food.
Keep up the good work, brother. I'm going to come see you soon. And
all right, brother.
Thank you for reaching out. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
All right, folks, that's Doug Clark, Ours Creole, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Taking a quick break. Coming back, we got Fred Muth, a.k.a. the Tin Man. Tampa Screens and Aluminum here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. ConsumerQB.com. Plus, our feel-good story of the day, LAPD body cam shows officers save child who was not breathing. Feel-good story of the day coming up. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. in studio with Martine Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text, complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Going to the phone lines here, we got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred, welcome back.
Hello, Brandon. Hello, everybody out there. How's everything in your world going, Brandon?
You know, we're blessed and highly favored, my friend. I mean, we really are just extremely blessed to be where we're at and living in the best place to be in the country, the Tri-City area of Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. Nothing better.
I agree with that. Even when it gets hot out, I agree with that.
Yeah, just about 40. Give us 60 days. We'll be nice and, cooling off a little bit. It'll be just gorgeous down here.
Then these customers of mine can enjoy the product that we sold, which is the in-between space between the inside and the outside.
That's right. That in-between space.
Thank you for coining that phrase for me years ago.
Patio, lanai, screen room, porch, patio, all the different names for
right.
it.
Yeah, when they move down from the Northeast, they want a patio, they want a lanai, they want to spend more time in that area than they do inside the house, and I don't blame them. I do as well. Ours is good size on the back, 60 by 15, and we live out there basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's not difficult for me to sell a product that I know is very, very much in demand.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about some of the show notes, permitting for ground elevations, tree locations, drainage, and setbacks.
Yeah, I always like to cover that. I get a lot of calls for South Tampa specifically, and unfortunately, sometimes people jump the gun and they'll have the paver deck installed without considering setbacks, considering other things. And quite often the paver deck goes in, there's no footer. And there's an oak tree 8 feet away, and then it's time for a screen enclosure, and it's definitely a no-go in most cases because of the tree, the close proximity of the tree to the deck. The City of Tampa won't allow that. There's a matrix that we follow. The majority of oak trees need to be at least 15 feet away from the foundation. And, I understand the reasoning. It all has to do with roots and this and that and the other. If a tree's let's say 15 feet away, let's say the trunk is 20 inches wide and that tree is 40 feet in the air, concrete man comes in and he takes part of that, part of the root system out. Well, now you're taking the legs out of the tree, and not only is it going to damage the tree, but it's going to make the tree weaker so that in a windstorm that tree can come over on the house. I respect that with the City of Tampa. I have a lot of respect for that. Outside of the city, them considerations don't come into play, but they really should, in my opinion. In some cases, we have a method where we're able to possibly do what's called a bridge system for the bottom rail over top of the root system, where I can eliminate maybe 20 or 30 feet of footer by going in with a 2x9 or 2x10 beam at the base and it's sort of unsightly, but it gets the job done. So I recommend, obviously this is a consumer show, I recommend anybody who listens to this show, if they're considering anything with screen enclosures, any type of foundation, contact the screen company first and get the consultation. And that, whether it's us or competition or whoever it is, they should bring that to the attention of the homeowner, the possibilities of, basically the city of Tampa not allowing the structure to be built because of trees and this and that and the other. Setbacks are another one. I went out on one about 3-4 weeks ago. They spent a lot of money on their deck. They're 3.5 feet from the lot line all the way around, and the setback's 5. So that's now in the variance process. Oh. And what is unfortunate is a lot of the pavers are going to have to come out because of drainage concerns, because the city wants that 5 feet of percolation space, right. And again, people are proactive. They jump and they move, and then they get their deck done. And then let's now call the screen company. Well, if you called the screen company prior to that, you would have had much better advice on it.
Well, let me jump in there real quick, Fred. By the way, we're talking with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Fred is a longtime friend of the program, one of our longest-running contributors on the show. For 7 or 8 years, they've been supporting our program. So please support Tampa Screens and Aluminum if you can. If you know of anybody looking to put a patio, screen room, lanai, pool cage on, aluminum, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Fred Muth. Fred, 2 terms I want you to define a little bit more for us. You mentioned the word variance, and then there was also the we talked about setback and percolation, but what is a variance?
Well, a variance would be an application to proceed with a project with respect to changes regarding setbacks. And what they do typically on what may be called a walkthrough variance or an administrative variance would be they would allow a certain percentage of the square footage to go through the variance process without going to the board for review. However, if it's maximum square footage that they're requesting or requiring, that process will have to go to the variance review board for approval. So, for example, the one that I just mentioned, they're 3.5 feet. The actual setback is 5 feet all the way around. So that customer is requesting an extra 1.5 feet, to go on the outside of the deck for us to install the cage. I don't believe they're going to give the full amount because it's the entire backyard. I believe the variance board may allow 2/3 of that or something, which is better than nothing, basically. So again, the variance process is what the homeowner would have to do if they want to go with a project that basically violates the standard setbacks, and they would be asking for variance figures to proceed with the project at a different dimension than the city typically allows.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, and that's the variance. You got an application to do that. By the way, I just realized I didn't mention our LAPD body cam showing the folks, the LA police officer jumping into action when his toddler stopped breathing. He had his body camera on. He showed the dramatic save where he saved this kid. The kid comes in. He has a 1-year-old that had a seizure in the lobby of LAPD's Harbor Station in San Pedro. As the boy's father tries to revive him with cold water, the deputy put his ear to the child. He heard the heart racing, but he wasn't breathing, so his emotions were high, and calmly continued the life-saving measures. And as for the toddler, he's doing well, and his family is beyond grateful to the police. Thank you for everything, quote, said the boy's father, Lewis Sr. All right, back to you, Fred. Final thoughts. We got about 30 seconds left.
All right, hurricane season is coming up. We know, make sure that your cage is fastened correctly. That's where the failure point generally is, at the base or where it connects to the house. Make sure it's tight there. I don't recommend cutting the screens out. Let the wind do that if that's going to happen, and we should get through this hurricane season very easily.
Yeah, that's interesting that some people cut the screens out. It's like let it happen if it's going to happen. If not, you're already paying for it.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Check them out online. Reach out to the show. We'd love to put you in contact. 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline. Fred, thanks so much. Always a pleasure. And
my pleasure, Brandon. Take care.
We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.